Welcome to the stage, founder and CEO of BioTara and Summit Impact Climate Fellow, John Goedschalk.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Wow, what a turnout. Seriously, after last night, I figured maybe 2-3 people would make it here, crawling out of their beds. But so many people, thank you so much for being here. And also a big thank you to the Summit Impact team for making me a fellow and for giving me the opportunity to be here and chat with all of you today. So, my name is John Goedschalk, and I am a proud citizen and resident of Suriname, the greenest, most forested country on Earth. We have 93% forest cover, and we are one of only 3 carbon-negative countries in the world. And it's my mission to keep it that way. So today I stand in front of you as CEO and co-founder of BioTara. BioTara is a company that's going to revolutionize the cosmetics industries and their supply chain, specifically as how they interact with forests and how they gather wild oils. But before we get to that, I do want to take a second and just share a little bit with you about how I got on this journey to begin with. So in 2011, my life changed forever, I want to say, because I was working on this assignment for government where they asked me, hey, John, what has conservation actually meant to Suriname? What kind of jobs has it created? What kind of income has it generated? So to answer that question, I had to do a lot of studying. And during that process, I discovered that the city that I grew up in, Paramaribo, will be unlivable by the end of this century. The city I grew up in, unlivable. So I remember exactly when it happened. I was sitting at the kitchen room table with all these documents around and reading these reports, and my wife, Natalie, she walked in with our newborn daughter on her arm. And I said, Natalie, the city, it's drowning. We're going to have to leave. Samara is going to be one of the last generations to grow up here. She looked at me and said, hey, what are you going to do about it, John? So I kind of let that sink in for a little bit. And I said, there is no way that when 50 years from now, my children ask me, Dad, what were you doing when the city was drowning and the forests were burning? There was no way I was going to say that I was standing by. There was no way that I was going to have to say, oh, I don't know, I was making money. No, I refuse. So I said, I'm going to do something about it. So what does that even mean when you're trying to save a city from drowning, right? Well, I'll tell you one thing. If we don't save our forests, if we don't stop our forests from burning, nothing else matters. We have to save the forests. So that took me then on this journey of trying to figure out how do I make standing trees worth more alive than dead? Because that's the key. We need to generate these economic returns for trees as they stand. So that took me on this journey, first starting out writing policy papers and giving lectures at universities and all of that stuff. And at the end of that, I actually became the lead negotiator at the UN for climate change. I was given the privilege to represent my country on this incredibly important topic at the UN. So I did that for a few years. Then I got recruited by Conservation International to lead the Suriname program, which was an amazing 10 years. I was able to spar and learn from some of the brightest minds in conservation and science. I was able to travel the country, work with indigenous communities, and learn so much about what makes forests special. And after about 10 years, I said, okay, time to close that chapter. I want to get back into doing something that really gets me going, and that's creating jobs, creating regenerative jobs, creating new forms of economic development in line with nature. And that's how me and my team, we came up with this idea. What if we can get cosmetics companies to use their enormous supply chain power for good? What if we can get them to buy directly from these communities and thereby leaving value in the forest so that people can make a living from that? And that's what we started doing. I'm going to tell you, this can be done. And the reason I know it can be done is because when I was at CI, I actually had the privilege of working with a community that makes this, Brazil nut oil, in the forest. And attached to this little bottle is this entire concept of conservation and entrepreneurship. We were able to work with this community that is currently protecting 235,000 hectares, has created over 100 jobs just with one single community-owned venture. So we said, how are we going to scale this? Let's take this 100x, right? This works. So let's offer technology, access to capital, and access to markets in one single system. And by doing so, we are able to then generate over 100 of these new ventures. And this is something that I started about, let's say, 16 months ago. And it's been quite a journey. It's been about 16 months pounding the pavement, doing a lot of these interviews and talks. But over the last couple of months, we've started to make real progress. We've raised over $200,000. We found the software partner we need for the full traceability system. And we've even been able to start getting the first sales in just this past month. So we are starting to get traction. We are on our way. And in order to really get us across the line, I'm going to need much more help. So if any of you want to get involved, any of you want to sit down and talk with us to think about how do we get cosmetics companies to start using their purchasing power for good? How do we get them to interact directly and buy directly from these communities so that they can do their part in stewardship and keep forests standing? I hope to talk to some of you later today, and I'd like to thank you for listening.